Hi everyone, it's Jess, aka Colouring Bumblebee, and I'm back today with another video for you. Today I'm going through all of the Disney books in my colouring book collection. As you can see, I've got quite a few. In fact, there are a couple other super large ones and bookmark ones that you can't see on the screen right now. So I think I'm going to move them to the side and get straight into this. So I am going to start with my two huge ones first, starting with Disney Vitro. This is about as much as I can get into camera. See if I can lift you up a tiny bit more. There we go. Now I can barely see the camera screen because it's so high up. But this is a hardback book. It's got this thick cardboard here. And this is all stained glass images. I really love this book. I've done a couple in here. Not nearly enough. There are a lot of pages in here, and there are all these stained glass images of different Disney characters split into different sections. So you've got the heroes to start with. And I am doing this as a project book with a few other ladies, but we haven't done a page in a few months, which is okay. You can take a little break, come back to it. We are coming up to my first completed page here, which was the Winnie the Pooh page. This is the first page I completed in this book. I just loved colouring it. I find it really relaxing, kind of therapeutic, and love the bold, bright colours. I used Prismacolors on this page, and they worked beautifully on this paper. Really enjoyed doing that one. Yeah, there's lots of pages in here that I can't wait to do. Moving into villains. I have done one in this section as well. Oh, no, I've done it in the magic section, and that is Hades here. A very limited palette of just blues and greys, but he definitely looks very striking, so enjoyed doing that one. I love these three fairies. I like that page. I think that will look really pretty all coloured. And moving into the family section, so different Disney families together. And then lovers or couples. I have got a whip in this book, which you will see coming up. And it is this one of Wally and Eve. I have done Wally's tyres, and that is it so far, which is a bit disappointing that I've only done that tiny bit, but I think because it's such neutral colours for the characters, I feel less inspired to colour them. I think Wally and Eve are really cute, but I just got a bit of a block with them. And I think I used polychromos for this one just to test out a different supply in this book. And I tagged this one as we were meant to be doing the Princess and the Frog one. Never got around to doing that either. And then Forever Friends, I believe is the name of this section. My French isn't the best, but I kind of know what some of the terms are because I use them across a lot of the Hatchet Hero books. But it is interesting how Hatchet Heroes seem to make the absolute best Disney colouring books out there. Like English and American ones don't seem to compare. I've got these tiny little note cards at the back, which are some tiny versions of the main images. And that is everything from Disney Vitro. This is the first tome of this. I do believe there's a second one, which I haven't got yet because I need to colour some more in this one before I can justify getting the second one. So that's Disney Vitro. Then I have this absolutely gorgeous colouring book, the Disneyland Paris colouring book. This is illustrated by Tracy D'Souza, I believe. I just want to double check. They don't. Yes, Tracy D'Souza. And I actually got this in Disneyland Paris itself, and it's split into different sections. So we've got the main park, Park Disneyland, with the Disneyland Hotel, the gorgeous pink hotel at the front of the park as you enter. And this book I love to have in my collection just for the line work. It is absolutely stunning. And I think one day I would love to colour in this, but I am happy leaving it uncoloured for now. I believe that Tracy went to the park and took loads of photos and used that as inspiration. We've got ones of the parade floats here, the gorgeous castle. I love this one with Big Thunder Mountain. I took a gorgeous photo whilst I was there of the sunset over Big Thunder Mountain, so I want to use that as a reference for when I eventually colour in this book. It goes through all the different lands in Disneyland Park. There are 2 parks in Disneyland Paris. Snow White ride, that's really cute. This is the walkthrough of the castle with all these gorgeous stained glass windows inside. Oh, flipping through here just brings back so many wonderful memories. And I love going to visit the park. I visited it a few times. Visited it last year in the summer. It was an amazing time. Yeah, definitely want to go back. Lots of images from the main park. Got Discoveryland. And then we move into the second park, Walt Disney Studios, which they are re-theming to Disney Adventure World now. And they are redoing a lot of this park. We've got some of Avengers Campus there, Hollywood Tower Hotel, the Toy Story Land. I think this will be a fun section to colour, lots of bright colours. But this book is just massive, so it would be a real project to colour pages in here. And then we have the Disney Village and hotels, so the hot air balloon you can go up in. These pages really don't appeal to me, of just the exterior of the hotel with all these windows. I have stayed in a few of these. I've stayed in Newport Bay Club. This is my favourite hotel. It's nautical themed. I've stayed in Cheyenne. I haven't stayed in Santa Fe. It's a shame that they don't have all of the hotels though, because this is Hotel New York. Oh, Sequoia Lodge. I didn't recognise it because it's a landscape page. I thought this was a tall building. So it does have all the hotels. Because me being silly. So yeah, it doesn't have the Camp Davy Crockett Ranch, which is a bit further away. And then, as they often do, they have some little note cards at the back. And that is the Disneyland Paris colouring book by Tracy D'Souza. Then going on from a huge book to a mini one, I'm going to move the camera down. And this is the Disney Portraits Small Square book. I really like this one. And it's just filled with portraits of different Disney characters with some fun backgrounds. Plenty of pages to colour in here. I've done a few. Still plenty more to go. This is a book I would like to complete one day. In fact, I think it was on my list to complete for a while. I've done Bambi here. I like to base these pages with water-based markers and shade over the top with pencils. I just like the bright vibrancy it gives. And I've done Hercules, colouring around all of these little squiggly lines. Took a lot of time, but it did turn out quite effective. I've done Peter Pan. I was colouring in this, or trying to colour in this each month for Meg's Colouring Corner, her ABC challenge. I was finding all the characters with the same letter in here and trying to colour them. I have based all of the Incredibles with water-based markers because I wanted the colours to be the same. But I haven't finished them yet. So yeah, we got Mrs. Incredible as well. I have done Jessie. I think I've done a lot of the J characters. That was the first month I started this. Really love how she turned out. I've almost done Jasmine. I've shaded her skin and the gold, and I just need to finish off the rest. That would not take too long at all. I've done Elsa. This is the most recent page I finished, and that was January last year. But I used a lot of blue metallic watercolour for the snowflakes in the background. Really love how she turned out. I started Cinderella. Wasn't a fan of how she was looking, but I know that once you shade with pencils over the top that they turn out fine. So I just need to carry on and finish it. Yeah, lots of cute pages in here. And Based Dash, and they've just come out with a Disney portraits book in, you know, that Zendoodly style. I've got the book here in this theme of books, and I found it in the works, and it's called Disney Portraits Colouring, and it's all of these images just blown up to be in this larger format. And I just found that quite funny how the poses are the exact same, the images are the exact same, they've just added bits in the background to make it a fuller illustration. And as I've got this one, prefer the small size, I'll keep with this. I've done Joy. I think she may have been the first one I did actually. Actually no, that was August, 3rd of August 2023. When was Jessie? It was one of these. This was the 1st of August, so Jessie was first, Joy was second. Yeah, I just like how bright and vibrant these turn out. Done Jafar. He was quite fun to do with all these gold scarab beetles in the background. I think I used Arteza a lot in this book. Liked how it performed. Done the Queen of Hearts with lots of black glitter gel pen for the background. And I actually used a red paint pen for the background there. And that is everything in this book. Got a few note cards at the back, as they like to do. And that is the Disney Small Square Portrait book. Then, as I just got it out, I'll show you Disney Animals colouring. This was a Christmas present from my parents. And what I'm planning on doing for this book is, because it's filled with Zendoodly patterns, is using paint pens to go over the top of the patterns and have these nice bold characters to colour. I saw someone else do that and I loved how they looked. So I think that's what I want to do for this one. I just don't understand why they think adults want loads of little patterns on the animals when you can be creative and shade realistically or simply with just the characters as they are. I like that one with Rapunzel and Max. Yeah, I think just getting rid of these patterns. It's a really cute book. It's just insanely busy to the eyes. In fact, I kind of wonder how these pages would look if you coloured them normally, ignored the patterns and just had it as like the background of it, and how that would look. I quite like this. This patterns works because he's camouflaging into all of these portrait frames. I think that's a really cute page actually. The rest, why the patterns? I don't know. That symbol one's lovely. But there we go. That is the Disney Animals colouring book. Next, I've got some of the large square books. This is Disney Mandalas. And I've done a few in here. And by a few, looks like I've done one, but I know I've started a few. I really love this book. I think they're really fun pages to colour. But what I tend to do is I'll base with alcohol markers, and then I won't feel inspired to finish the rest. And some may say that the basing is enough. But I've done this one, based with alcohol markers, and just want to shade with pencil on top. Mickey and Friends. But for me, I know I like the result of the pencil finish. I've based the Peter Pan one. There's some bits going on in the centre here, like water splashes. They can get quite confusing, the details of this, and it does take quite a while for me to colour with alcohol markers. And I like basing just so I can map out all the colours easily. But the one I have completed I do really, really like. And I like this mandala book because you've got different characters. It's not just patterns. I've done Princess and the Frog, again, based it, shaded one thing of Lewis, and I think he looks great there actually. I've been using Black Widows for that. And I just need to go around and finish it off. I know I started this because Megan picked this as a Disney film of the month, and I started colouring it whilst watching the film actually. And yeah, just need to finish it off. One day I will. I'm sure I will. It's a really cute book. This is the page I have finished, the Alice in Wonderland one. This sat as a whip for months and months, and then one day I was like, yep, I'm finishing it off. So I really like the finished result of that one. And I think that might be it in this book. Not sure if I've started any more pages. But plenty of films represented in here. I think these would be great to colour whilst watching the films as well. There we go. That is the Disney Mandalas colouring book. Then I have Disney Love Stories. I've just done the one page in here. I have been bad about colouring in these, but I really like these portraits of the Disney couples with some fun borders and backgrounds. You've even got some platonic love, some cute Wally and Eve ones. Yes, I just liked the composition of some of the pages in this book, which is why I decided to get it. It's got a nice variety of different films represented in here. I don't like this one with their floating heads. Why didn't they put the bodies in? I do not know. But that Peter and Wendy one is cute. This is the one I finished, the Mr. and Mrs. Otter, or is it Otterton? I can't remember. But these are from Zootopia. I love how these flowers turned out. I used alcohol markers to shade them. And I think they turned out really pretty. And I put a bit of pale pink metallic watercolour paint in the centre of these flowers, based with alcohol markers, shaded on top with pencils. And I think it turned out really well. But I've got another page in here as a whip. I started as a buddy colour with someone and we both felt very lost by it, so we picked that page instead that I just showed you. And I will show you what I mean when I get to that page of why we got a bit lost, because they do include some confusing details in some of these Disney pages I found. So here we go. Started basing them, all going fine, and then you look at the background and lines don't add up, and what's this water and the fence and what's this in the background. There's some confusing details that we was both struggling with, so I know I will come back to this one day, but not today, probably not tomorrow either. But that is everything in the Disney Love Stories book. This one was also illustrated by Tracy D'Souza. Then we have probably my favourite, Disney Petit Pupe. This one is illustrated by Capucine Savignon. And I was doing this as a project book with Christine from Saint Colours, but we decided to press pause and give our other books some love and do some other buddy colours. I started this one and there is a lot of tentacle and I was getting really tired of shading the tentacles, so I decided to just move on to the next page. But it's all based with alcohol markers, and then I've done shading of these tentacles down here, and they do look nice all shaded in, although it's a bit wax bloomy from the Prismacolors. I've got them noted down here, so that's ready for me to come back to whenever I feel like that. I have done this one, Sleeping Beauty. I love all of the greens on this and a touch of pink. I think it turned out really nicely. It's one of my favourite pages in the whole book. Based with alcohol markers, shaded with pencil on top. I think I used Prismacolors again for this one. I really like that Maleficent one, and this Belle one is gorgeous. I just think these pages are so cute, and they look lovely all colours in. You can have some fun with backgrounds, playing with different colours. Love the Moana one, the baby Moana. Getting to some... No, I've done more in here, eventually. Must be nearer the back. I've based this one with alcohol markers, Carl and Ellie's house here. I just need to finish it off and shade with pencils, but it's quite a busy page. It's a lot of tree. I think that's what's putting me off, it's a lot of tree. But that's there waiting for me when I feel like that. I have done Ariel from The Little Mermaid, did this last year for Mermaid. Love the colours of this. The coral and the bright green. Based with alcohol markers and shaded over the top with Prismacolor pencils and a bit of the Spectrum Noir glitter pen in the bubbles. I love this one of Aurora with the river. I think that's gorgeous. I've done Cinderella. I believe this might have been the last one we did. We did this October last year. I decided to do this bordered background. I think some of these lines weren't actually connected, and I connected them up and did this midnight blue sky. I thought it'd look quite nice, and I did lots of white paint pen to create that sort of see-through effect for her dress and the shoe. She turned out cute. And I started Jasmine. I hate this colour for the brickwork for the building here. It looks gross, but I know when I shade with pencil it'll turn out okay. But I couldn't bring myself to colouring this, so I just moved on. Done Lilo and little Scrump here. These leaves were a nightmare. So many huge leaves. I was so done with leaves by the end of this, but she does look great finished off. I think I would have enjoyed this more if I varied up the colours a little bit more with the leaves, but it does look quite striking like this. And I believe, oh no, we got one more. Oh, this is probably my favourite one I've done in here. I especially love the background to this sort of soft pastel gradient that I've done with the pink to the orange to the yellow. Mulan looks adorable and lovely spring page. Really cute. And I think that's the last one I've done in here. Yeah. So I should come back to this book. I haven't colours in it since October last year, but I've done a fair few in here. But it would be nice to get a few more done and maybe finish up a couple of those whips. That is Disney Petit Pupe. Then the newest one I have, this is Princesses à travers les saisons, or Princesses Through the Seasons. And these are illustrations by Charlotte Mendes. And I just thought this was so unique. A lot of these books will contain very similar images between them. But this one, it feels like the images were created for this book. We've got princesses in winter and Christmas time, going into the spring season. I have started a page in here. I started this last night actually for Easter. This Sleeping Beauty one. I'm just not quite sure what I'm going to do with the trees yet. And then we move into some more summery ones. Just some really unique pages that you don't see in any of the other books. I'm sure some of the images are featured throughout. Got some lovely autumnal ones. Love this one with all the pumpkins. And I always love colouring the princesses. They are some of my favourites. Films from the Disney series, the ones with all the princesses in them. I like this one with her berry picking, gorgeous. The only thing I wish about this book is that they kept all the seasons together. They kind of go winter to spring to summer to autumn, and then they kind of do a couple of summer ones and a couple of springy ones. They kind of jump around at the end. Yeah, lots of fun pages in this book to suit any time of year. I think it'd be nice to do one per season in this book this year. So I'm working on a spring one at the moment. It'd be nice to get one done in the summer as well. That is Princesses Through the Seasons. And then I've got a couple of these bookmark books. I've got the Disney mini portraits ones, and I have done one page in here so far and started a second. I've done this Pluto one, which I did very simply with alcohol markers and did a tiny bit of shading on Pluto himself with a bit of pencil. But I really liked how that turned out, and the markers barely bleed through because it's such thick cardstock. But I've started this one of the Aristocats. I wasn't sure what to do for the flowers and just never continued this one. The faces also look a bit streaky, so they definitely need some pencil shading on top. But this book is filled of these kind of 4 little portraits of different poses of characters, different characters in each of the squares, themed to different films. And I just think they're adorable. And what I would love one day is to have a nice collection of bookmarks that I can use for my completed pages videos, rather than using the same plain corner bookmarks, which I do enjoy using, and they do the job nicely, but these would be definitely more fun. I'm trying to keep the bookmarks contained in the book whilst they're uncoloured, and then whilst I'm working on them I'll pull them out and do it that way. I just think that will be easier to keep them nice and contained. They do have they're glue bound, so they will fall out and they do tear out quite easily. But these don't take too long. I don't know why I don't reach for these more often when I'm not in the mood to colour something more complicated. I can just bring these out. It's great fill-in ones at the back. There we go. That is the mini portraits book. I'll tuck these ones back in. And then I also have the Petit Pupe one. When they came out with this bookmark set, I knew I had to get it, as it's full of these little doll characters. Some of the images are like cropped versions from the big book, and some of them are more unique, but I don't mind that. I think these will look adorable coloured, and I haven't coloured any of these so far. Yeah, some of them have some of the similar elements from the book, but not necessarily the same composition. And I thought it was different enough. And we don't have this one from Peter Pan, none of those. I love that one. That one is literally just a cropped image of the Carl and Ellie house. I prefer when they look more sort of planned for the bookmark size, rather than just, okay, let's crop this image or something pre-existing. This one's gorgeous with this stained glass window. They get some really, really cute bookmarks in here to colour, and I feel like keeping this out, maybe doing one. But I've got so many pages left to do, so I better not. So that is the Disney Petit Pupe bookmark set. And then the final collection of books I have are all colour by numbers. This is the only one I have in the large squares. This is Disney Portraits. Who illustrated this one? Eugenie Varone. And I will show you the couple of ones that I have done. I have done Aurora here. I've used alcohol markers on these, just as they're single-sided, I thought might as well. Abu looks awful. I used complete wrong colours for his fur because I didn't have a very good selection of browns at the time. Wish I could go back and just leave it or do something different, but that's what it is. But these are nice, big, bold images. I'll show you the solutions at the back here. And I've kind of been saving to do any more. I am waiting for some paint pens to arrive from Temu. I've been waiting for absolutely ages. I just think with the nice, bold, bright colours will look really nice with a flat colour look of the paint markers. Something different for the Disney Portraits large square colour by number. Then I have a few of the large colour by number books. This is Princesses, and who illustrated this one? Jeremy Mariez. And this one I decided to do in order, and I did a lot of experimenting when I first got this. It was my first one. So I started doing it all with the colours that it suggested. And as you'll see, I now prefer to use a black outline for everything and use a black paint pen for the outline and colour with the water-based markers for the main image. I did struggle a lot with skin tones at the start, but I was using a variety of markers that I had to start with, just any that I had, and that would work for the colours that I had. But it is very satisfying to be able to flip through and have a chunk of the book all done at the same time. These two are probably some of my favourites. I love Rapunzel, and I love doing stained glass things. It was very satisfying to do that one. But yeah, I used to use a black felt tip pen for the outlines, and then I changed to a black paint pen, which gives it a nice bold look. Still the black paint pens here as well. This one's very bold. I'm trying to work out when I changed. Yeah, this is the paint pen, but that one isn't. So Snow White was the first one I did with the paint pen, and from then on I have been using the paint pen. And you can see that I've got a bit better with my application of the markers. They look less streaky. I've just learned to work with them better, but I don't mind the streaks. I embrace the streaks in this book. This was the last one I did. I had troubles with Pocahontas' skin as my pen was running out, so she looks very blotchy, but it is what it is. And I haven't touched this book for quite some time. June last year, just because I prefer some of the other books that I've got. But I've got 60 more pages to do, plenty more, and it is very satisfying to have a good chunk of the book completed. That is the Princesses colour by number. Then I have Disney Vitro colour by number, and they are coming out with a second volume of this. This has got a variety of illustrators for this one. But the way I like to do these is colouring them with felt tips first, and then going with a fine liner around the outlines just to make them look more defined, as they're quite a grey outline to start with. I just prefer that look. Done Mulan, done Ariel, that was the first one I did in this book. And I play around. Sometimes I'll outline every kind of square of it. Sometimes I'll just do the outline of the character. I change it up. Love the aliens, they're really fun. But I like this book and how bright and bold the images are. Done Bing Bong and Joy from Inside Out. And having the two next to each other is always very satisfying. Pocahontas and Ariel. Cinderella and Lucifer. This was one I decided to experiment and not do any outlines, and I much prefer how it looks for me with the outlines, so I kept with that, but I've kept this as is just so I have it to look back on. Done Eeyore. Prince John. Really like how this turned out. The colours were lovely on that page. Peter Pan, the very tanned Peter Pan. May from Turning Red, that was fun. Sully, Minnie and Donald. I have just completed Donald this last month. Had a nightmare with the red pen and it smudging everywhere, but not much you can do about that after it's happened. Done Louisa and Mirabelle from Encanto. Often when I do one, I'm like, oh, got to do the next one now because I enjoyed it so much. Done Captain Hook. Often I'll just pick a random number and do that page in this book. Done Thumper and Bambi. Penelope, another nice, fun, colourful one. It's getting hard to flip at the back here. Little Space Mickey and Winnie the Pooh. And Young Anna and Elsa, and that is the final one from this book. Still lots more to go. I have done 26 so far. I like to do these little trackers at the back. That is Disney Vitro and Disney Nature. I've done a few in this. This is by William Barl. And these are a lot larger images, which you will see, and more kind of large spaces. And I kind of don't feel as inspired to colour this one as compared to, I prefer the more detailed pages. So I've done Alice in Wonderland here. I've done Cinderella and Snow White. And Ariel, that's a fun one. I liked doing the fishes on that one, I remember. I've still done a fair few in here. A very, very bright Piglet, which looks better on camera than it does in real life. He looks almost neon. I remember being a bit disappointed by that when I finished it. Thomas O'Malley and Duchess from the Aristocats. Cheshire Cat, that was fun. Pegasus. This one I decided to change up and do the light outlines just to keep it nice and soft looking rather than the black that I usually do. Surfer Minnie and Scuba Diving Donald. I remember I picked this one at random and I didn't look up the reference image for it. And I remember doing the outlines and being like, what is this image? It took a long time before I realised what it was. It wasn't very distinct, because often you can tell what they are from them being uncoloured, but that one I had no clue. I like this one of the two Dalmatians. This one's pretty. Pocahontas. Duncar. Isabella. Yeah, so these are more kind of just one character on a page doing a pose or something. Lady, she's lovely. And I do prefer the more detailed scenes. What's his name? Alberto? I don't think it is. What is his name? Does it say in the back? Sometimes it says their name, or sometimes it just gives... Antonio, that's it. I was close with Alberto. Antonio from Encanto. I did this one last year for autumn. Loved doing the leaves on that. That was a lot of fun. Cute otters from Finding Dory. And Coda from Brother Bear. And that is the last one in this book. So how many have I done in here? I've done 19. Get one more done, and that's a fifth of the book coloured. So that is Disney Nature. Then my favourite, Le Grand Classique, tome 11. This is illustrated by Jeremy Mariez. And this book is 50% completed, my most completed colour by number. I love this one. I love the double page spreads. They are so much fun to colour. Done the Aristocats and Mirabelle. She was very fiddly and detailed. Alice in Wonderland. Love how the double page spreads look. The Ugly Stepsisters and Lilo and Stitch. And it's nice having these chunks of the book all completed. Pinocchio, one of those vertical double page spreads. I used a lot of the Crayola Colours of the World markers for this one with all the browns. I've done these two fairies from Tinkerbell, no idea what their names are. This double page spread of Belle, Nick and Judy, the sisters of Ariel. It's nice seeing a book 50% completed and knowing that how many hours you spent in this book and knowing you've still got that to go. This gorgeous double page spread from Bambi. This is probably my favourite that I've done in the book so far. I just love how it turned out. Super bright and vibrant. Bolt and Penny, I think, from Bolt. This double page spread of the Rescuers. These characters from Robin Hood and Pua and Hey Hey. They are cute. Got May from Turning Red and Lewis from Princess and the Frog. Mickey, this was the first one I did in this one. Wally. This was more fun than I thought it would be, actually. Chicken Little, these tiny squares were such a pain to colour around, but I'm glad it's done now. Carl and Ellie. This pretty pastel page of Mount Olympus from Hercules. Double page spread of Lady and the Tramp. Loved colouring this. These leaves took forever. It's double page spread of Ariel. Got this one from Emperor's New Groove. It's Patch's wife and kids. Double page spread of The Lion King. This was my least favourite I've coloured by far. There were so many browns. It was really boring for me to colour. But I like spreading out some of the pages that I don't like versus the ones I like whilst I'm colouring a book, because you don't want to be left with all the pages you don't like at the end. Then you never want to finish it. I've done Rafiki. This double page spread of the Muses from Hercules with my pen that was running out and struggled to make it through to the end, but it got there eventually. Lotso and the Three Fairies. I really like the Three Fairies. They look great. Cinderella. Took forever to go around all of these circles, but it does look nice and magical. And Baloo and Mowgli. And that is everything from this book. So still half the book left to colour, but half the book is complete, and that's such a great feeling to see a book filling up like that. That is Le Grand Classiques tome 11. Then I have Family. I haven't done so many in this one just because it's a bit of a newer book. I think I will flip through from the back just to speed it up. I've done these wolves from the Jungle Book. This was one my dad picked out a couple of months ago. I've done this one of young Anna and Elsa with their mother. Now I've done a lot on this right hand side of the page. I've done Simba and Mufasa looking over the kingdom. And this one I did the other day actually, and I went back to this page and borrowed the same colours, or tried my best to use the same colours. Her hair is completely different actually, but this was more accurate to the colours that were here because they were the same. It's like it's set in the same place but looks slightly different. I've done the Aristocats, such a fun one. Love that. This one of Lady and the Tramp at Christmas time. This floor was meant to be more of like a pale yellow, like a beige, but I didn't have that colour and this was the closest I had and I just went for it. This one of the Aristocats, which is the exact same pose as a page in tome 11, just with a different background, but it was fun colouring them again. The 3 characters from the Jungle Book. I like the bold background of that one. And these 2 Dalmatians. This was the simplest colour palette I've ever done. Didn't take me too long at all. And this one from Coco of Hector and Mama Coco. Adorable, love that one. And that is everything I've done in Family. I haven't got a tracker at the back of this one because they have started doing a tracker here. So I just cross off there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages. So that's 1/10 of the way there from family. And the final book I have is Disney Love Stories. This is illustrated by Alexandra Karam. And again, I haven't done too many in this book. This one is extremely detailed. I've done this one from The Great Mouse Detective. That was last month. This one has such tiny details, loads of colours, but I do really enjoy doing those pages. This one of the Hops family from Zootopia. Not too many in this one. Rapunzel and Eugene from Tangled. Love that one. And then I've done both of these near the start. 2 very fiddly pages. These mice, the outlines for them were such tiny little lines. You had to be so careful, and had my nose pretty much at the page. I really like how they look both together or finished. Very lovely. And now I want to colour another one in this books. But that is everything from my collection of Disney colouring books. Do let me know in the comments below which was your favourite. Mine is definitely for the Cover by Numbers tome 11. And then the Disneyland Paris book holds such a special place in my heart. And I also love the Petit Pupe large square book. So I'd love to hear what your favourite is in the comments below from those different categories. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone!